Hello and welcome to Separate Bathrooms. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respects to the elders both past and present. My name's Cam Daddo.
I'm Ali Daddo.
We've got a surprise for you today. Our son. I'm very excited to have him in. We've had Lolo in.
Yeah. Well, that was just me and her. This is the first time that we've had the parentals with the child. We've known him his whole life.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Indeed we have. I was I the first one to put my hands on him? I remember I was the one lifting up my T-shirt that he was wrapped in when he was born at home to see if River was indeed a boy or a girl. He was going to be River either way in name, wasn't he?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He was on my chest and then the T-shirt went over him.
Yeah, but we still didn't know at that point.
No, we didn't know it felt like a while.
Yeah,
Probably in the scheme of things,
minutes.
not that long. But we were just madly in love with this perfectly round little chunky baby.
It was the most peaceful birth
Yeah,
too.
it was a beautiful birth.
There was nothing dramatic about it. It was in the bedroom.
Yeah.
In our house. There was a tub in the bedroom that we had for you to birth him in the tub, and you ended up getting in there afterwards.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah, we didn't feel right to have him in the water like Lolo was. But it was a very special experience.
It was.
And he was just remember he lifted his head up and just looked around and everyone went, oh, look at him, he's so aware.
And so strong.
So strong.
To lift his head up. That was kind of like, it was like an ET moment.
Yeah.
His big eyes and this head kind of going, lifting out of his shoulders.
And then I think you said, is he a boy or a girl? And then you had the first look.
Yeah, definitely a boy. Definitely a boy.
We just thought we'd bring him in, have a chat with him, and maybe you'll fall in love with him as much as we love him as well.
Let's welcome to the bathroom our number one son, River True Daddo. Welcome to the bathroom, son.
Thanks.
We've just asked who dropped out.
We've just asked who
Well,
dropped
it's
out.
such short. I mean, you called me on Tuesday asking me to come on it, and I was like, well, it's such short notice. So
Well,
I'm
we did. We realised that, okay, so Lotus has been in the bathroom, your big sister. Your little sister said to me last night, when am I coming in?
I said that to Mum. I was like,
That's
she's
right.
going to be pissed when she finds out she's the last one.
She's going to be banging on the bathroom
Yeah.
door.
But this is how I grew up. There was, you had to wait your turn, and it was oldest to youngest. So
I don't think Bodhi thinks that way.
no, she definitely doesn't
my
think
gosh.
that way.
Wait.
And that's her superpower.
But it
that
was
she doesn't
actually
think that
Xander,
way.
our producer, that suggested Riv.
Correct.
Which we thought was just a genius idea. We were like, yes, of course.
Yeah. So we'll get to the reasons why Xander was interested in having you, aside from being our only son, our one and only
Our
son.
favourite son of all time.
Couldn't have said it better.
Our favourite River, our favourite son.
And so this is your first time in a radio studio, podcast studio?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you used to take me to the voiceover sessions in Los Angeles when I was like a little kid.
That's
Remember
right.
doing
I
that?
did too. I did too. Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's right.
yeah, no, that was.
Oh,
yeah.
because they have toys in the waiting room.
No, they had
or
candy.
Lollies.
They had
That's
lollies.
what it was. They had
So
candy. I
Dad used
remember
to
that.
convince us, with the lollies.
Yeah.
So come and hang out. There was always other actors in there.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
We'd be hanging out
And
in the reception.
nothing like some sugar to bribe the children with.
Look, we might even get to that too, Riv, with the gymnastics.
Oh,
Bribery.
trauma.
Trauma. We kind of ease
Let's
our
go into the traumatic
kind
parts
of
of your childhood.
ease our conversations into trauma rather than starting with trauma. So I want to do
Yeah,
that.
it's probably a nice place to start.
It is. Hey, so you were born in America. Your first, I'm going to say 17 years of your life were living in the United States. Now you've moved to Australia. What was it, a lot of people are curious about what's it like to grow up in sunny Southern California. How was that for you? And going to school there, and there's Zuma Beach and the Valley, dude, and In-N-Out Burger and all that sort of stuff. How you're an American kid?
Yeah. I feel like when you're in it, you don't really think about it. Like that's just normal.
Right.
So it wasn't really until I think when we really started to come to Australia on holiday, like Christmas, summer break more, that you would start to compare the lifestyles.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where I used to go like, hang on, I kind of like, I like the Australian lifestyle a lot better. And that just kind of built up.
Yeah.
And remember, I used to get so upset when we have to come home.
Yes.
And it just like steadily got more and more to the point where I'd be like crying when the plane landed back in Los Angeles because I did not want to be there.
Isn't that interesting?
So yeah, so I was really excited to move.
I know when Dad said it,
Yeah.
you were just so gung ho for it.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like out of the rest of us,
Yeah.
you were like, absolutely,
Yeah.
let's go. What is it like for? I mean, I know you said the lifestyle, but not necessarily to compare the two, but what is it about Australia that you love so much?
I actually don't know. I think it's just I just like it.
Yeah.
It's so much nicer. It's probably because you've got, all of our family is here. But yeah, it's just the feeling that you get living here. Like I go on holiday, like we'll go to Europe, whatever, and that kind of thing. And I'm like excited to come home.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm coming back to Australia. I know that sounds like cringe or whatever, but like that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Where I do not have any connection to America whatsoever.
Yeah.
And people
Aside from a passport.
aside from a passport.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, people are always like, do you miss it? Do you ever want to go back? And I'm like, no. They're like, would you ever work over there? No. Like I went over there in May and went into my office space, in Irvine, and the people, they were like, would you ever come back here? And I was like, no, probably not.
Americans
Yeah,
would
no,
love
I don't
to
really
hear
want
that.
to.
No.
But oh yeah, and then it's just the feeling. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else right now.
Yeah. I agree.
And that's a fair call.
And you've also the way the way to your heart has always been through your tummy. You love. I don't know anyone who loves their food more than Riv, and
Yeah.
from a tiny baby, you
That's-
were just food driven.
Yeah.
In such a great way.
It was rice and beans back then.
Oh, he ate everything.
Yeah.
Everything we put in front of him, he was like, that was his joy. And I know that's been a big thing as well, hasn't it? The food here you've
Yeah.
really enjoyed.
Yes. Although there are some like the snacks in America,
Yeah.
you can't compare the variety. Like when we were there like earlier this year, we walked into like Walmart and it was just like the aisles and aisles of just variety that you could get there, and I was quite excited.
Did you get those Firebomb Cheetos that you like? Those red?
No,
big-
I got my goldfish.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
that's
the
right.
goldfish
The
crackers.
goldfish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big part of your growing up too. I mean, your infancy it was goldfish. So I'll put you in your stroller, put a blanket over the top, make a hole between your legs there, and fill the hole with goldfish.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to walk around the
Happy as
neighborhood.
Larry.
Happy.
Happy as Larry.
Yeah.
Well, remember the shrimp? You wouldn't remember the shrimp.
No.
The shrimp.
But I know
gate.
this story.
Yeah, shrimp gate.
Shrimp/prawn.
Yeah, when you choked on it, and luckily I managed to have lunch with paramedics that day.
It was the day before.
Oh, it was the day before, that's
Yeah.
right. And they told me how to clear a child's windpipe if they're choking. And the best thing about that story is as the shrimp flew across the table into Lotus's lap, you were looking for another one.
Yeah, I lost that one.
Where'd that one go? What'd you hit me on the back for? Oh, there's another shrimp. Put another shrimp in my mouthy.
Oh, the best. The best. So moving to Australia.
Moving to Australia.
With the Daddo last time, obviously you've got your uncles who've been in the industry as well. Was that how was that for you when you mentioned the Daddo name? Was it sort of like, what? Which son are you and who do you belong to? And was that ever a weird experience for you, having been in America where both of us were unknowns?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys told us to expect it before we moved. You were like, this is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Hence the legendary
Try harder.
status.
Yeah.
Try harder,
But
Cameron.
I think, like, you know, you'd be.
Oh my God.
It
this
would
is
happen. It would
hilarious.
happen. You know, it's maybe happened. It happened a few times. Like
Yeah.
it definitely has happened.
It's okay. You don't. This is not making me feel bad. Or Mum feel bad. She doesn't care.
I don't care.
But you're not making me feel bad.
yes, you are.
It's
okay.
you know what? You know where I've found it the most is when I've had like job interviews and
Okay.
I've gotten the job, and like later on in my first week, like I'll have like at my first job, one of the women who had interviewed me for the job, and then within the first week she came up to me and she was like, "Oh my God, I know who your parents are." She's like, "I listened to your mom's podcast," and that kind of thing. And my boss was like, yes, he was like, she said that to everyone, and I made sure that she did not bring it up in your job interview.
Oh,
so like
I see.
that will happen sometimes like that.
Do you often get asked then, are you interested in acting? Are you going into the entertainment industry? Do you ever get asked that?
Not really. Sometimes they'll be like, yeah, are you going to? Do you want to?
Yeah.
And I've always said no because I've seen the way that what it's done with you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm someone that wants that stability in my life.
That's right.
Especially from a work perspective and a financial perspective.
Yeah.
And I've seen how hard it is, and I don't want to do that. So
Yes.
I would rather have, work a normal job and have that financial stability because it's something that I need.
So what did you see? What have you seen?
Well, especially living in America, when I saw, you guys really, really struggling, I didn't really understand what that was
Yeah.
at the time. But, we've talked about it since then, and I know what that came from and that kind of thing. And you've since told us how hard you were working and what you were doing because your work was just wasn't there. And yeah, transparently, I do not want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's smart. It's smart. We get asked constantly, are your kids interested in the entertainment industry? We get asked that all the time. Don't you? I do.
I do, and I have, and I said if they chose to do it, they would all work. They would, like your singing voice. I know you haven't allowed it to get out of the bathroom, but when you used to sing in the shower and stuff like that, you've got a beautiful singing voice. And yeah, if any three of you wanted to pursue a career at the time, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've all seen the unglamorous side of it for sure.
You saw us go through challenges and difficulties over there, and you saw us make use of professional mental health care through therapists and things like that. And here you are, you've chosen a career in psychology, yeah?
I studied psychology.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that because you're interested in people's welfare?
Yeah, I think so. But I think I like talking. I like dealing with people. Like I like to talk to people. As much as sometimes I may not seem to want to talk to you guys, but
It's completely understandable.
Just not the family. No, that's not true.
yeah, I think it's just something that I had in the back of my mind that I was like, why don't I do it? You guys know I took a break between high school and uni, and I'd didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I'd enrolled in a couple of things and then didn't want to do it. I remember Dad, we were driving along Military Road back home, and I said, oh, I think maybe I want to be a teacher. And you said, you go, well, the lifestyle that you want is not attainable on a teacher's salary. So I would maybe rethink that one. So
There
I
are many ways to teach, Rick. You in your human resources career can do a lot of teaching. Well, let's just put some context around that too, in terms of you. I mean, you've always loved the finer things. You've always wanted.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
you
not.
know?
Yeah, you were totally right. Like you were. That's why I didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got your older sister who likes to live off white rice and
Peanut butter.
peanut butter. Like that's it. And wants to live in a bus and has no career aspirations really. And then you are so far from that and again, you've always been from a little kid. When we would go to a store, you would find the most expensive this, that, or the other because you knew quality at an early age. And that's not changed for you either, which I think is awesome.
No. Quality over quantity.
There you go. You've taught me that.
Yeah, I know.
You've really taught
And
me
you're
that.
you're slowly catching on.
How's the quantity
It's
going,
taken me
honey?
a while.
How's that going? How many dresses are you up to now?
It's not about the quantity, honey. It's about the quality.
Quality.
My son tells me.
Okay.
What, all
Buy
I'm
the
saying
nice
is like
pair of
you
shoes
spend
so
you spend the big bucks on one thing and that thing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Like pans. I was talking to him about cooking pans. I was like, stop buying the cheap non-stick pans because they will you lose their non-stick and you got to chuck them out. Buy a nice cast iron
I'm with you.
stainless steel pan and you'll have it forever.
I remember when you came home from your first trip to Europe
Yeah.
with the leather backpack.
I was going to say the leather backpack has to be brought up.
Yeah, but I remember when you came home with that, and you particularly, honey, were like, "You spent how much money on a backpack?"
Yeah, well, I mean, but the thing was, I had patience with it. I couldn't believe how much you spent on a backpack for one. However, when I was in university, a leather salesman came. My 3 weeks at university, a leather person came and was selling things out of the trunk of their car, and one of them was a leather duffel bag, which I bought for $80, and I brought it home and I showed Mum and Dad, and Mum was like, "You spent how much on that?" And I'm like, $80. Where do you get $80 from? How did it's crazy. Well, I've still got that bag 40 years later. Is it 40? Why? My maths is terrible. But I still have the leather bag. And so I thought, oh, well, that's what Rip's going to do. He'll still have that leather backpack. And since you were young, you've always been authentic. You've always walked to the beat of your own drum. You've shown me, and just through being you, some great lessons in who you are. You've been really true to yourself. And it started for me when you were about, I don't know, as soon as you could walk, really. You liked the look of Mum's high heel shoes, and you always got people to walk, and then your sparkles and your dresses and things like that. And it was always, you were like, yep, just do it. And then I came, do you remember when I came out in a dress? Yeah. And I went
It was Mum's nightgown, nightie.
Yeah.
When the seams were splitting down the sides.
Yes.
and you were like, Daddo, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I've been watching you wear a dress, so I thought I better try one on. It's really comfy.
Yeah.
You and Lolo were in the bath, weren't you?
Yeah,
Dad
and
came into-
it didn't land, I think, as well as Dad wanted it to, because I think we were just more confused than anything.
Lois tells the story. You might remember too. Lolo tells it. She goes, and I remember the sound of the ripping of the seams
Yes.
as Dad.
Yes.
Talk about overstuffing a sausage. The sausage casing goes away.
You gave it a good shot.
Yeah.
Well, I
You gave
did,
it a
and I
good
think
shot.
was there another time that I bought the pink and black one from the op shop, the hourglass one, because that's the one I was thinking about. I'm not really having much of a memory about me, Mum's
Ooh.
I don't
nightgown,
remember
but
that.
there was a
I
pink and
remember a
black
pink and
dress
black
that I put on once, and you were like, dude,
What are you doing?
duded me? And so what are you doing? And I'm like, it's just, and it was, I guess it was my way of wanting to support who you were. Because I also remember throwing a ball towards you at one point, going, here, catch this. And he hit you on the chest and you burst into tears and were like, what are you throwing that at me for? I was like, I got to find another way with you, that's find your interests. And it took me a while to sort that out. So here you were as a young boy wanting to wear dresses. Halloween, you dressed up as princesses and we might talk about a moment which was hugely teachable for me in your school playground, delivering you to school in your princess dress. But so it wasn't whether you were gay, straight, or any of those sort of things. At what point did you realise that you were gay? Because it could have gone anyway at that point
wasn't
as a
about
young
wearing
man.
dresses that made him gay,
No.
or not made him gay, but that wasn't the clue or anything. But yeah.
I don't actually there's never like a penny drop moment for me. Like I can't ever remember being like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what's happening. But like it's just like this. It was just like a weird gradual progression where I was like, do I like it maybe, and then I was like, okay, and then I think probably like the transition between year 8 and year 9 is when it was like, yeah, I not into girls at all.
Yeah. And did you find yourself, were you attracted to a guy? And is that, or you just knew you weren't into girls?
I just knew I didn't really I wasn't attracted to women at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there wasn't any men that I would see. Like obviously, yeah, you see them on the street and you're like, oh, that's a good looking guy, but it's never like I can't remember a singular guy that was like gay awakening, that kind of thing.
Gay awakening. Oh, I've not heard that term. Have there been any challenges that you have faced since then with your sexuality?
No, I don't think so. I feel like I got super, super lucky. Like there was never, my friend, I feel like all my friends in America at least knew well before I did that I didn't like girls. And I think that's why they were, I think back and I'm like, I was having sleepovers with girls when I was like, 8 or 9.
Yes.
Like my best friend from like 2 years old, like they're all females. So, and I think their parents obviously were like, okay, this is clearly, there's no issues here whatsoever. And I remember one of my best friend, actually, she was having, Sophia, it was, how she used to have her big summer birthday party in August. And I remember one year usually what would happen is like boys would go home and the girls would get to sleep over. And I remember Kathy, Sophia's mum, pulled me aside and she was like, do you want to sleep over? Do you want to spend the night?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I want to spend the night. And it was so much fun because like I was like got to stay and I was like the only guy that was there. And it was, that was before I came out. So it was like everyone knew, like it wasn't a shock to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And high school was fine. And there was no, I never had anyone outwardly say anything to me. Not even here, not even in Australia. Like it was very easy. I think I just got lucky.
There was that moment, as I alluded to before, in the playground, walking you across the playground to deliver you to class. You were probably in about maybe 2nd or 3rd grade at school, and you were dressed as Rapunzel in this resplendent sort of a white gown and blonde hair, and I was holding your hand and you had your lunch pail, and we're walking across, and then that boy called out from a second, "You're dressed like a girl," and I remember feeling this fury, and as I grabbed you and I looked at you, and you just looked up and just you stopped for a second to see who it was, and then it was like you raised your hand or your wand and just went like that and kept walking. It seemed to roll. It just didn't seem to hit you at all. It's like,
But he was dressed as a girl.
I know.
Yeah. So.
But it was a moment. Well, the guy wasn't saying it as a compliment. It was like.
There was a tone.
There was a definite tone to it.
That 8-year-old had a tone to his voice.
Yeah, he was older than that. He was like a 6th grader. And he should have known better, yelling at a little kid walking through the thing. And I'm still mad at him now. But it was the way you took it, and it was who you were. And I just thought, and I looked at it and walked away and just went, wow, what a kid. He's just doing what he does. So you said between 8 and 9 that you kind of had that recognition with yourself that you weren't into girls. It took a little while longer than that for you to come out.
Yeah.
And when you came out to us, there were a lot of tears.
I didn't. You asked me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
asked me.
Okay, so how was that for you? that moment, although that leading up to that, and how was it through that, and how did you feel once the cat was out of the bag? Sort of thing?
Weird. It was weird because I felt like you have like this. And it wasn't even that like I didn't think you guys were gonna accept it or anything like that. I just didn't feel like ready. Like I was like, I don't know how to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know how to like initiate it, I think. So probably it was a good thing that you guys did ask because it probably would have taken a lot longer for me to say anything anyways. But yeah, no, that was a crap day. That was a bad day. Cause I remember you didn't like the group of friends that I was with. They knew I had come out to them, and then you guys, they had set me up on the apps, and then I remember that the apps was connected to my old iPad that I'd given to Bodhi, and Bodhi was getting messages, and it was just like, it was a messy day.
It was a messy
I remember
day.
I was supposed to have dinner with those group of friends, and we were walking down the street, and Dad's car pulls up, and I was like, Dad, you're early, and he's like, no, I'm here to pick you up.
Yeah.
Silence on the way home. And then it wasn't until later on that you kind of said that you knew everything and asked me, and I remember crying. I think I said sorry. I said sorry to you guys. I apologized. So that was probably, a little bit of shame hidden down in there for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why else I would have apologized for it. But you feel so much better once you actually come out, I think.
Yeah, there was so much around that time. Like there was a lot of hiding of other things that was happening. Yeah. So we were really like, what is happening to Riv? Like, and it was, that group of friends that were kind of a new group of friends were just getting into some stuff that was really illegal and like not great. And that was what we were concerned with. And then that question just came out, and it was heartbreaking to hear your apology. It still breaks my heart that you felt the need to say sorry, because that was something that I felt like I'd really wanted you to know that. And even just the fact that we asked you, like some days I just go, there was no need to come out. There's no need to ask the question. We just wondered if there was something connected to that was causing the distress in your life, because you hadn't sort of said, look, I am gay. So that was why that question came out the way it did. Yeah. But I know, like, I feel like a lot of things changed after that. I feel like it did kind of break the tension. You sort of got back with your old friends and there was like this sort of ease after that from our perspective anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that definitely happened.
Yeah, yeah.
When I told you, you were like, we've known since you were 2.
Yeah.
That was what I.
Yeah, well, we thought we knew. For me, there was always a question, and then I've tried so hard to get you into barracking for the Mighty Bombers and be part of footy and stuff, and to find ways to connect with you.
Yeah.
And whether that be as we've cooking or the doll dressmaking or whatever it was, that all those things that you were into. And the question I wonder if he's gay or is he not gay? And Ali and Mum and I would talk about it, and then it became, does it matter? Does it matter if he is or not? And then I remember Lotus came to me, probably maybe a year or so before you'd finally come out, and she said, Dad, she goes, he's not gay. Oh, he's not gay. And I said, what do you mean he's not gay? And she said, well, he left his diary in my room, and I read it, and the stuff that he's writing about, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my God.
He's not gay.
Oh, that's
she read it?
She was young too. We all do.
She knew better than to read someone's diary.
Well, wherever it was.
Just saying.
I don't know if
she
that's true.
knew better. I'm going to text her after this.
I don't know if that's true. You better
What are you
be
talking
sure about that.
I am true. I am sure about it. But she said maybe she didn't read the. She just said what I read, what he wrote about so and so, and whether it was maybe I'm elaborating on the diary issue.
Yeah, she's still a snake, but that's fine.
As I said earlier, you've been wearing high heels and dresses since you could walk and dress yourself, aside from wearing T-shirts back to front and inside out with no tags and any labelling on them for a number of years. Are you still doing things like that? Do you still have any kind of dressing tics that you're
No,
very
I've had to get over them. I know I had a lot of sensory issues as a child.
Oh, there you go.
Especially with clothes. I
Yes.
didn't like tags.
Yes.
I could not have a T-shirt with a tag on it. It had to be a print, printed on the fabric.
Yep.
I didn't like
Busy colours.
I
Yeah,
couldn't.
busy patterns.
Or buttons.
Buttons. I've had to get over buttons.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the buttons now. I think majority of my clothes have buttons on them now,
I know, you look
which
so
is
good
nice.
in a button-down shirt.
Yeah, but I definitely had issues, but I think that you grow out of it.
Is there anything about the experience of sort of being gay or whatever that has looked like for you and coming out that you wish you had have done differently or you had have known earlier that would have helped you in some way?
No, I don't think so. I think it happened the way it happened, and
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why I would want to change it that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't look back on it and go, oh, I wish I'd done that sooner. I wish I'd done it on my own, on my own accord, that kind of thing. I don't really.
Yeah.
It's just not something that I think about anymore at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I think it's so normal now. No one really comes out anymore. Really, it's
That's
just,
right.
It's just a normal thing that people do.
You have always had a great perspective on life, and I can't wait for you to be a dad and to see how you go about being a father. Is there anything that we can avoid? Well, this is for parents of teenagers. Anything that we can avoid saying or doing to our teens that might unintentionally hurt or alienate them? Is there things that we can pay attention to as parents with kids, with teenagers? You've always had a great perspective on how to speak to people, and you see truth. I mean, your middle name is True, and that to me is exactly who you are. You've always River True. You've always taken the path of least resistance, and you see the truth.
Yeah, I think just let them do their thing. Just don't push within reason, obviously. There's times where you guys have had to corral all three of us at some points, and we've started to kind of go down paths that are not the best. But I think just let them figure it out on their own, because everyone does.
Yeah.
Some people just take longer to do it. It is what it is. Just don't push it, I think. Don't try and force it, because it's just not going to end up well.
Yeah.
Like the river.
You, even when you, it wasn't long after, you came out, I know I keep on cringing slightly at that term, but you were very clear that you still wanted to be a dad, and you knew that it was going to be we'll do a child from me and a child from my husband. And what is it about being a father that you're looking forward to?
I think doing things the way I want to do it.
As the dad?
Yeah. I think.
What would you do? What would you do? How would you do it?
I can't think of anything, extremely differently that you guys would have done that I go absolutely not. But I think just getting to shape a person is something that is an exciting idea. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. From your childhood, is there any favourite family traditions that you look back on fondly?
I feel like we don't have. I mean, I think I feel like we're quite a non-traditional family in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think so. But I think we have the things that we do every year. Christmas time, I think is a great one. Like we're usually always together on Christmas, and you do your big mama's breakfast and that kind of thing. That's always a fun one. But I think there was the tradition that died, thankfully, was your Nutcracker tradition, where you would take us to the Nutcracker every single Christmas.
I'm with you on that one.
The last one we left, I think, halfway through.
Yeah,
we walked past the main ballerina's mother as we left, and she was not happy.
I know. Wait till you have kids. I'll start the tradition again. Don't worry. I know this is a weird question, but I love it. What's the strangest thing that you believed as a child?
That sex was cake.
Wait, what?
Yes, I used to think that sex was like cake.
We need to talk.
So when people said, "Oh, I had great sex," you thought people had had a piece of.
I thought it was like a kind of food.
Well, some people would actually equate it to food.
Something that I was just like I didn't like have a. That was like very
Sure.
young, and then it was explained to me probably I think 8 or 9 probably. I think when I probably got a better idea of what it actually was.
Just so many things. Okay, you can have your cake and eat it too.
I mean, imagine if you had to come home and said, "Mum, can I have some sex?"
Yeah.
And we'd be like, "What? Like, can you make some sex?"
Yes.
There were so many things that could have happened there, Riv. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I'm wondering if that's a parental thing or how did that come? But you became so good at making cakes.
Yes, so good at making
and your
cakes.
horseshoe pastry and sourdough.
Yeah,
I mean,
croissants.
Wow.
He's a baker.
You are a baker. You like your sex a lot.
Oh my God.
We did actually think for a long time you were going to be a baker. That would be your profession. Like, and
so did I.
Yeah, because you're so naturally good at it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad and I have, particularly since we've come back to Australia and started this podcast.
Podcast. It's a bit stinky sometimes. Let's face it. This one's not though, Riv.
no.
This is great. This is a great chat.
Great stuff happening. Since we've started
much cake.
Since we've started this podcast, Dad and I have been very open about our relationship and lives and what have you. How has that been for you? Has that been in any way challenging?
No, because I try not to actually listen to a lot of it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because it's just something that I don't think I need to know every single detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't want to know every single detail.
Yeah.
I think it's like sometimes you guys have tried to, if something's coming out, a book or an article or something that you may know has something that I don't know yet. I know that you guys have in the past sat me down and said, "Hey, this is coming. This is just a heads up," which is always severely uncomfortable for me, and I don't like to hear it.
What about when I hit you up with my book that's coming out and the bit about you?
Oh, well, yeah, if that because that concerns me.
That's
though.
right. Yeah.
If it's just about you or something that's happened in your personal life, I'm like that is something that I don't need to know. But I get why you guys have done it because you don't want me to find out through other ways.
Yes.
Because I know that stuff has been published in the past where, it has, been a bit of a blind side to at least Lolo and I because we've read it and we've heard it and stuff like that. But it's not my favorite chats.
Yeah, I get it.
Fair enough.
I get it.
Fair enough. Hey, listen, we do a thing called the 2-minute shower. Do you know about this?
No.
Okay,
Remember, he doesn't listen.
I'm going to sit you down and talk to you about this. This is going to be really cringy. Really cringy, Rivs.
Oh, it's short. What? It's a very short shower.
Very
though.
short
Keeping
shower.
it really
We know how
short.
much you like your showers and steal 14 towels and collect them in your room. How are you dealing with that now that you're out of the house and you don't have 14 towels, or maybe you do, to choose from?
We have a lot of towels. We have a lot of towels because we steal them from the gym.
We're not going to name which gym.
No.
Oh my God, the klepto daddos.
Yeah, that's what we're known for. Like father, like son over
All right,
there.
let's go. If you could relive, you don't have to spend a lot of time on these answers. If you could relive one day, what would it be?
Probably a day that I had in Europe in summer.
Yeah, nice.
Positano.
Oh,
the beach club.
yeah. What the world needs more of is...
Lightheartedness. People are far too serious. They take things way too seriously.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yep. That's you.
Thanks so much for coming in.
It's okay.
We spoke to Richard Wilkins and Christian, his son, the other day, and it was so lovely watching a father and a son just hanging out. And I got to say, I felt like that with you today.
Good.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
And Mum's been here too, so that's been. But it's really
That's
just
been
funny.
okay. She's been around.
Is there any way that I can sway you to barracking for Essendon? We need another supporter.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I'm not going to finish this on a no. Will you come for dinner on Sunday night?
Yeah, sure.
Yay!
Love that.
Thanks, Riv.
Thanks so much for coming, honey.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for your time, sweetheart. Right. Riv's left the bathroom. He's a funny dude.
He's a funny dude.
I love him.
He's a pretty straight shooter, isn't he?
He's such a straight shooter. Like no nonsense until he's not, and then he's as funny as hell. He's given us some big old laughs in our time.
Yeah. He's a good fella, and he's brave and kind.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of our number one son.
Number one son. All right, well, we hope that you've enjoyed getting to know our number one son a little bit more. We've learned a few things about him ourselves, actually.
Indeed. I'm thinking about food now more
Or
in
cake,
a whole different way.
specifically. Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye for now.